We're gonna talk about the cheapest, or maybe I should say most affordable
Yeah.
beachfront property.
So I'm Chris Ferzoco with the Ferzoco Group Real Estate Team down here in the southern area of New Jersey at the Jersey Shore. And we have a lot of inquiries of what are the cheapest or most affordable properties that you can purchase here at the shore. If you're trying to get into the market and break in, like what is the cheapest I can do? Like how can I get in? How can I afford one today? So that's what we're going to tackle today.
So let's first start, where's the most affordable place? Doesn't necessarily have to be beachfront. Just like to live on the shore, where would be my most affordable option if that was my dream?
Yeah, so really probably the most affordable one is going to be your converted motels. And the shore towns have a lot of those. The Wildwoods, North Wildwood, Wildwood Crest, North Wildwood, they have the most amount. You do have some up into the Ocean City market and stuff like that they have even converted motels there. So those converted motels. So those tend to be the cheapest, most affordable ones that you can get into.
Explain the process of like how they go from like motel to condo, would it be?
Yeah, so they're designed as condos. So generally what will happen is that you have a complex that was running as a motel. It may have been running as well, we'll just stick with the motel idea, but they ran as a motel, and they had an on-site rental manager, as of course. And then what happened was then typically you'll have a group comes in and they'll buy the entire place, and then what they'll do is they then convert them to individual condo units. So they do a complete remodel. They'll come in, they might change the design on them. Sometimes they'll change the size of a few of the units. Like I know one complex recently it was an 18-unit motel. They dropped it down to 9 because they combined two rooms to make it one unit. So then they just sell them off as individual units. So that's how they go from being a motel into a condo complex. And there's condo documents, which is the rules and regulations of what you can do as a homeowner. Generally what it outlines is, everything and anything that you want to do, you need to have okayed by the association. On the interior, you can tend to do what you want. There's a lot of leeway there. But on the exterior, it has to be uniform to the rest of the complex.
And how much would one of those properties cost?
So it's going to vary, right? So in some of the towns, you may have a few more that are a little bit inland. You do have some that are waterfront. So you can definitely get yourself into a beachfront condo unit here that may have used to have been a motel. One of the things you just want to make sure that you're clear in, and they're going to run anywhere between probably, anymore it's going to be, it can be $200,000 and plus. Maybe able to find something that's about 150. They're going to be on your real smaller side. Might be a first floor unit back in an alcove somewhere, but that could be somewhere that's about 175,000 to 200,000. Right now, we're finding that they're $200,000 and plus, across the board, no matter what town you're in.
Okay.
Easily.
And how would that cost change if maybe it was on the bay? And then how would that cost change if it was beachfront, like with ocean view?
So how's it going to change when you're on the bay versus the beach? Well, it's also going to depend on what it has to offer. So for example, like there's a great complex up in Ocean City. It's on the bay, and they actually have boat slips. So they have a big beautiful pool, big beautiful deck area, and they have boat slips. So the difference there is the value is going to be higher because there's a little bit more to offer with regards to having the boat slips there. If it has a marina and all that, then that certainly is beneficial value-wise. So, but generally you're going to find these complexes are much more Middletown to the beach because they were used obviously as motels. That's what people were staying in many, many years ago versus buying their own personal properties.
Mm-hmm. But do you have like a number like that you could throw around for like middle, bayside, and beach?
Well, so there's two factors that are come into play with that. So You have some of these complexes that may have been, as a motel, they may have been what we call seasonal. Or they may have been a year-round complex. Or when they did the remodel, they made it into a year-round complex. So, but the ones that are year-round, those are the ones going to be more expensive. They're going to be upwards of about $300,000 to $400,000, even for a converted motel. Okay. The ones that aren't, that they're going to be seasonal, they're going to run you somewhere between about $250,000 to $300,000, $225,000 to $325,000 as a seasonal unit. Okay.
So you couldn't stay there the whole year.
That's right. So by seasonal, I mean it generally is going to close down right around that middle of October, and is going to probably open up right around mid-April. Is when just before Easter and around that time, that's when they'll start to open up. And then when they're opening up, they're just kind of getting their cleaning going, they're getting themselves together, and then they do really their official openings as you really start getting into the month of early May. That's when they'll start to really open up fully for the season. But when they shut down the seasonals, there's no water. You could stay at your unit, but you have no water. So you'll be roughing it for a couple of days if you're there for a weekend. But you own it, so you can come and go as you want. But they shut down the water, they drain the water, everything is winterized. So that could be something that's a benefit that you might be interested in if you want to ask. I think you wanted to ask about that. So.
Well, wait, what would be the benefit that they shut everything off?
Right. So for some people, it may get shunned upon that, wow, this is a seasonal unit. Why would I spend that kind of money? So one of the other negatives, I should say, about the seasonal unit is that they do shut all the water down, as we talked about. You also do pay your HOA fee 12 months out of the year. So even though it's shut down through November, December, January, February, March, and into April, so virtually 6 months, you are still paying your homeowners association fee, and you have to, okay? One of the benefits is if you actually don't come down, you don't really have to worry about it too much. You don't have to worry about pipes breaking. You don't really have to worry about the maintenances and whatnot on the property because it's been fully drained and fully winterized. So it's pretty much going to be ready to go once you open it up. So that is, if you're someone who doesn't come down in the winter and you're never worried about it, there's really not much to worry about.
What's kind of like the biggest kind of condo, or if it's like are those called condo tels or something?
Condo tel, sure. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yep. The converted ones.
Like, what would be like one that had the most amount of bedrooms and
Yeah,
bathrooms?
they're generally one bedrooms.
Okay.
Yep. You might find in those same ones where I talked about if you really got something that was down to that back alcove and, for the real affordable ones, it might be a studio unit. Okay, so there's no bedroom. So, there are some of those that are still around, that are still available as well. You just have to remember, if that's a property that you're looking at to get into the shore market, you're trying to find your first investment property, it might be harder to resell later if you wanted to use that as a step, a stepping block or a stepping stone to get into the real estate market. You have to be really smart with that as an investment, because if it's something that you want to go from here to here, like get to your next one quick, it might be harder to resell it later. So you just want to kind of really be careful with that, and just make sure that when you're looking at these units here, you're finding out all the factors and know exactly what you're purchasing.
Now here's a tougher question. Now consider that I only want to get a single family home. Now where would be the most affordable spot?
So the most affordable spot really, it's going to depend on what town you're looking in, on where you would want to purchase a single family home. And in some cases, it's going to probably be more middle island. It's going to be a home that probably needs a lot of work. Some of the shore towns, they're going to have it maybe on the west side. It's going to be closer to the bay or something like that. So it's a little bit more secluded, a little bit more off path. It's not as transient. It's not as not an area that's going to be necessarily visited as often from the summer tourists and stuff like that, if you will. So, yeah, so where is that going to be? Honestly, I think for single family homes now, and it depends on your definition of affordability. Let's start there. Yours might be different than mine, different to the next person's. So it's going to depend really on what you're looking for, and the size that you need, the features, the benefits. There's some 2-bedroom homes that were old shore cottages that are available that have been remodeled, and they're beautiful. It wouldn't be the teardown necessarily. So you could certainly find something like that. If you're thinking of, in this day and age of, I'm going to go buy a single family home down at the shore, and I'm going to spend $200,000, $300,000, it's not happening. You're going to be offshore.
What number would you throw that would be like a comfortable possibility?
For a single family home?
Yeah.
Again, it's going to depend on the town. It's going to depend on what it has to offer, and more often than not, if it's low enough, one of these builders are getting their hands on it and they're buying it first. But I think that you could find something that's going to be fairly reasonable. You could probably find something in the $600,000-$700,000 range.
Okay.
That may not need too much work.
Yeah.
So if living at the shore and having a shore home is your dream and a goal for you to have, in variable ways, it could be an investment, it could just be a second home, it could just be something you want to build for your family. That dream can be a reality. We can help you with that. We can make that happen. And really, it really will depend on a lot of variables. It's going to depend on what you're looking for, where you want to be, because one of the beautiful things about our area here at the shore is that our towns do all differentiate from each other in different ways. And there's different things about each town. So we know we can certainly find you what you're looking for. There's going to be a lot of factors that are going to depend on it, but we know that we can help you do that. All you have to do is just give us a call.